Shalom family, how are you guys doing today? It is 8:52 where I am. Some of you are on the other side of the woods and it is probably still your Shabbat. So, Shabbat Shalom. So I'm going to be doing a series because there's just so many scriptures and it would literally probably take like 3 hours if I did it in all one day. So I think it's best that we just do each theme or message each day. I'm going to try to do it in consecutive order in terms of like days, but life happens sometimes. So Yahuwah willing, I will be back each and every day, probably around this time, because during the day, there's just so much with the kids that I have to do with the ducks and everything else. So that is my promise to you all. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about putting on. Okay, putting on and putting off. What do I mean by that? So I noticed that in some of the scriptures, it'll say like, put on the armor of Yah, put on love, put on this, put on that. And I said, wow, when I hear that, and then when I hear that there is wolves in sheep's clothing, when you think about it, it is like the wolf has to put on the sheep to pretend to be a sheep, right? A servant. So that led me into some scriptures about, well, what should we as sheep be putting on, right? So we should be putting on so many things, but first and not the least, but the most important is love. We need to be putting on love, and we need to be putting off lack of love. So family, I just have 4 scriptures today. This should be really quick. And as I said, I'll be back tomorrow. So the first scripture, this is going to be 1 John chapter 4, verse number 7. And this is going to remind us to put off lack of love. Okay. Now, this is what it reads. It says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from Yahweh, and whoever loves has been born of Eluah and knows Yahuwah." Okay, so obviously I had to change the titles. You know what it really says. We need to just meditate on what it just said. It says we need to love one another. Straight to the point, the word speaks for itself. It says love is from Yahuwah. It is a free gift he gives us over and over again. He gave us love through Yahushua HaMashiach. He gave us love through our mother's womb. He gave our mother love through us being her first or her fruit of her womb. Love is just how he operates. Even when he chastises and convicts us, he is doing it because he loves us. Everything about the Most High Yahuwah is love. So he wants us to be about that too, because we have to be like our Father, right? We are his children, so we should be mirroring and reflecting his ways, his characteristics. And this is why he encourages us to put off lack of love, because when you do that, then there's no way you can love him, because he is love. How could we say that we are, we love him or we are of him if we don't love? Now, love can hurt sometimes. So there's times where we have to deliver the truth and it might sting a little bit, but we have to do it in love. Now, there are always going to be people that feel so much conviction. There's going to be people that the truth hurts hearing, right? People that are not going to be receptive. And that's like a lot of the relatives we are trying to plant seeds in. This can be the other nations because of just the lack of truth that they have been so filled with, even through the bloodlines, right? And then this can even be amongst us, our own brethren. Sometimes when we are called to share or deliver a truth, not everyone's gonna like what you have to say, but we don't say it because we want to say it, but we're saying it because we're called to say it. And sometimes it's like a scapegoat type situation. Sometimes you have to do things that, you feel uncomfortable. It's not even your type of thing you like to do, right? Like I'm a really shy person. I don't really like to be on the spotlight and stuff like that. But when I'm led, like this is, you're never going to see me go live. I have to just get these messages out, because when I don't, I feel conviction. Because when you know information, you are to share it with your brothers and sisters and the people you love. So when I know, like, if there's something good, or maybe I hear something that, we should, be guarded against and stuff, I have to share it. But you have to just either listen or just don't listen, but always be loving, because when you discourage people, it can hurt family. So we have to put off the lack of love when dealing with our brethren, when dealing with our relatives, our family, strangers, other nations. And we have to just use discernment to see, are they being hateful, or are they actually doing this in love? Or maybe Yahuwah is trying to speak through them. We have to make sure that we are discerning that, because if we are positions of our heart, if it's not positioned how it should be, everything can be very offensive to you if you're listening to something and you're already like dealing with warfare. It's important, family, that during these days, because they are getting increasingly darker and darker, that we fast. We have to fast and we have to pray constantly. And we have to put on these things that I'm going to be discussing in this series. Now, everyone should be already studying and showing themselves approved. But when I share these messages, it's also to not only encourage, but to bring it into your remembrance, because it's so easy to forget some of these on-time messages, these on-time words he spoke when we are dealing with life. Most of us are busy. Some people work, then you come home and you got more work to do. So I understand we are all in different boats of life, but we are all attempting and prayerfully hoping to go to that one direction, which is to be with Yahuwah, wherever his kingdom will be. But we have to make sure that we are loving each other in order to get there, because that's one of the things that he is looking for. He's looking for who is mirroring the way of Yahusha, who is doing what they were called to do as faithful servants and brethren, right? So that is that verse. Now we're going to go into 1 John 4, verse 8. Okay, family? So that's the very next verse, which says, whosoever does not love does not know Yahuwah, because Yahuwah is love. So hearing that, it's like, wow. So many people claim they know Yahuwah. So many people claim they have an intimacy with Yahuwah. So many people claim all these things. They worship him in spirit and truth and serve him and all these things. But then when we are in the flesh, we forget that we are supposed to love. When we do that, we don't know him truly. Because to truly know Yahuwah, we have to love. And I used to be called crazy when I got bullied and like these people would hurt me in school. Like I never really had friends, but there was people that associate. They would always be like, why are you talking to these people? Didn't they just hurt you the other day and you were crying? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, why are you talking to them? Well, we're supposed to be the light. So if I have to hate every person that hurts me, I would be like so far from Yahuwah if I had to hate every single person that hurt me. I can't. Will I cry? Absolutely. I'm such a big crybaby. Yeah, I'm going to cry. I'm not afraid to say that. I encourage my son to cry if he has to and express himself. I encourage my daughter to do the same. It is healthy to express yourself and to let go before that sun sets, because we don't want to have anger and wrath after a new day has begun. We have to just put it off. So when people hurt us, family, it's important to forgive them. I know it hurts, but you have to forgive them for you. Because if you hold anything within your heart will become bitter. And that bitterness grows and it consumes within your temple. And I don't want that for us, because we are supposed to be one body in Mashiach. And when we are one body in Mashiach, it means that just because this member has a different assignment than we do, whatever attacks them, whatever hurts them, is going to affect the entire body. We all have a duty to bear each other burdens, to teach each other, to warn each other, to stay guarded, to pray for each other, and all these things. But the enemy has allowed skin color and race and age and all these divisions to take place. And this is why, as a whole, we are very weak right now. Many of us are fighting battles that no one knows because we go through it in private. Many of us are facing things that no one can see, but we still show up. And we try to show up because we are being obedient to the Most High, but He asks us to share the truth. And when we share the truth, we get persecuted. We get slaughtered spiritually because no one wants to hear what it needs to be said in this hour. But there's a worldly term: if the shoe fits, you wear it. If it doesn't, you have to just keep it moving, family. This message and all the other messages I have ever shared is never specifically about one person. It is about a generalized nation or world of people. Everything is always about whoever needs to hear it. Those who have ears will hear. If you don't hear, then you don't hear. Please understand that I'm a very direct person and I don't take things personally. If, I try not to, let's just say. But when I'm hurt, I'm not even going to tell you you hurt me. I'm going to pray for you. And I'm going to lift your name up at the throne and ask Yahuwah to help you. Because usually when people hurt you, it's because they are hurt themselves. So it's not fair for us to always take things so personal if someone is hurting us. Because sometimes they don't know you're hurting them. Communication's key. And sometimes things are best to just be quiet and just go straight to Yahuwah. Because when we discern that a conflict or discord will happen, sometimes Yahuwah asks us to just be quiet and let Him handle it. He actually asks us, even during these days, He says, vengeance is mine. Do not repay evil for evil. So when you hear these words, family, heed to them. Because it is for your own good and protection. You don't want to get into something that won't be fruitful, okay? And we have to be patient with our brethren because everyone is going through something different. I had somebody going through divorce or, divorce problems. Somebody over here is contemplating this and that. There's people dealing with health issues. So much is going on right now. So we need to be putting on love and we need to be strong for each other. And because we know some of these things are spiritual, a lot of the diseases, the disorders, these things that are going on, we know it's spiritual. We know when people have marital issues, we know it's spiritual. We know when people are dealing with sickness or health issues, we know it's spiritual. So when we love, what does it say? Love covers a multitude of iniquities. That means that simply loving, do you know that on a cellular level, the amount of adrenaline, the amount of endorphins and serotonin that can pour into your organs and heal, it literally can heal. Just being happy and love, just making someone smile. You're smiling, but on a cellular level, they are being healed. But the more stress and hurt we feel, it literally causes inflammation and blood pressure rising and all these different things that are not healthy. We are told that our body is the temple of Elohim, but we need our temple to be a loving and peaceful place. We need it to be a place that will allow Him to abide within it. He would not be able to mix with these dark things, these things that are not of Him, family. So this is why I'm going to be talking about these things, because I want us all to be on one accord when it comes to what we are to be doing these days and what we are to be avoiding these days. So that was 1 John 4:8, and I have the last one, which is 4:20. Okay, 1 John 4:20, and let's go there. Okay. Now this says, whosoever claims to love Yahuwah, yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love Yahuwah, who have they not seen. So when you think about it, I mean, this is one of the best verses, one of the very best. Think about it, family. We see each other, even if it's not in person. We see each other on the phone, the Zooms, whatever it is. You see your brethren, you see your loved ones in person. You're able to touch them, feel them. We're able to do that. But with Yahuwah, we can't touch him, feel him, but we say we love him, but we can't see him. None of these things. We just have faith that we love him and that he's there. When our brother and sisters, we know for a fact they're there. But then we say, I have a problem with this one. Oh, I can't deal with all these things we do. But then you can't possibly love Yahuwah then. So when you think about this scripture, we have to evaluate ourselves, because I know that there's a difference between being separate from people that hurt you, being separate from people that mean you harm. Sometimes we are not separating ourselves, but it's Yahuwah that is pushing us out of the paths of some of these things for our own good. This looks like maybe friendships in your life that just never flourished and didn't work out. This can look like maybe a job that just never called you back, didn't work out. Things that don't work out. Sometimes it's like, oh man, but we don't know that maybe Yahuwah didn't want it to work out because that wasn't for you. So there's a difference between that and then you actually hating something when you shouldn't. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to just let Yahuwah do what we have to do. See, love for Yahuwah, our Alua, is inseparable from the love of others. Okay, family? Genuine love for Yahuwah is manifested through how we love other things around us. And this is why I say when you are in his creations, it allows you to appreciate him on deeper levels, because we are not able to see him, but he gave us these things around us so that we can appreciate him and who he is. Family, please understand what I'm saying. When you see the trees, the water, the birds, when you see the ocean, when you see the sky, everything around us that was created before we were created, it allows you to have him without actually having him, family. It is like his portrait, right? His painting around us. He spoke and it came, right? These are his commandments, his word that manifested all around us, family. So when we have people in our lives, when we encounter strangers, them too are Yahuwah's creations. Even if it's other nations and all these things, we know every nation, every tongue is going to confess Yahuwah is Alua. Yahusha HaMashiach is Savior. So we have to understand this. There's a difference between when you see and you don't see. You have to have love and faith always, because then when you say you love your brethren, then you show that you have love for Yahuwah. Okay, family? And I hope that makes sense. We have to be able to just discern false spirits and acknowledge the true nature of Yahushua HaMashiach. We have to be able to do that. Because there are also going to be times where people say, I love, and they don't love. It is just something they're just saying. So we have to be mindful of discerning things like that. Because there's people that will get their heart broken. Think about, this hasn't been me, but I know many women, they're like, oh, he said he loved me. And, they get their heart broken because the person said they loved them, but then they go and they hurt them. They go and they cheat. They go and they do this, that. But why did they say they love them? So we have to blame the enemy when there are times we fall slack, when we say we love and then we go and we do things that don't show that. It doesn't mean that we completely dismiss the person, but it means that we should probably pray, right? When someone's not acting ordinary according to the word, right? When they're not really reflecting Yahuwah, when you don't see any fruits, you know them by their fruits, you can pray for them, right? It doesn't hurt to pray, to have discernment, to know who to pray for, and what to pray for. Because there are times where we can be deceived by some of these unclean ruachs. You don't want to be praying for something against that truly is something that's supposed to be against you either. So you have to make sure you acknowledge that and you lean on the Ruach HaKodesh to guide you through all things. Okay, family? So that's one of the things I wanted to discuss. And you know that when you love, it's because you know Yahuwah. Period. With anybody that has genuine love for anything or anyone, rather, they have experienced it first. I always tell you, look yourself in the mirror. I tell my son this, rather. I say, look in the mirror. This is who you are. Do you love yourself? You have to love yourself first. You have to forgive yourself first. I mean, especially once you come into the truth, that old you, it's probably going to make you want to throw up, right? You have to have faith that you're this new creation. You're this new transformed being. You're this new servant. You have to be able to look yourself and examine yourself and say, I am new. I am new in Mashiach. I love myself. And you give him praise for transforming you into this new person. But then once you know you love yourself, then you need to be able to love others also, because that is what Yahuwah expects from us. When you truly have experienced his love, you'll be able to truly love others also. Many people don't really love themselves. They may not say it, but they don't. You can tell, and I had discussed this maybe a month ago in another video about how we have to be careful of how we speak to ourselves, how we feel, and what we say, because sometimes we project on other people because we're not okay with ourselves, and then you project on others. And we have to stop doing that. Stop using people as our punching bag. When you're not feeling good, when you're having a bad day, all these things, that is the perfect time to rest in Yahuwah. And this is why I said, I don't know if I said it during this video, but this is why the Shabbats are perfect. Because it's like it always comes right when you need it to, right? You can be going through the whole week and you're like, oh man, you feel like you're just done. And then boom, the Shabbat comes, and it's always right on time for you to mentally, spiritually, and physically rest in him. And then he rejuvenates you, right? To prepare for the new week ahead, right? And then luckily you'll have sermons for the first day and stuff, all these things that are just fuel to keep you going. So I praise and I bless Yahuwah for giving us the Shabbat, a day to rest and to refuel, a day to love him and fellowship with our brethren who are also in Mashiach. All right, family. Also notice that a sign, I know that it says that the Shabbat is a sign between us and Yahuwah. That's true. And we also need to know that love is a sign from Yahuwah also. For us and Yahuwah. It's a sign. It's the key sign of transformation, because we are it's like a rebirth when we're able to just put off all of this lack of love, all this sin, and be able to just love and be renewed, right? Because we know that the Messiah, he died for us because he loved us, right? They call it agape love. So who are we to not be loving? If he told us follow the way, he is the way. He is the door. He is the vine. So if we're going to follow him, we need to follow him the truthful way, the honest way, the authentic way. We can't fake. He didn't fake love anyone. In fact, I remember he washed Judas's feet. Judas betrayed him. How many of us are able to say, this person has hurt me, this person is going to unalive me? Well, we wouldn't know that, but just imagine being in his shoes. This person has done this, that to me, belittled me, made me cry at night. Well, I lost sleep over what they have done, but I'm going to wash their feet. I'm going to love them anyway. I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to, be kind anyway. A lot of people are not able to do that because they allow their flesh to dominate over their spirit. The spirit is willing to love. The spirit is willing to put off these things that grieve him. But we are willing to hold on to what the lust of the flesh is desiring. And we have to stop doing that. This is what they mean, crucify that flesh. You have to put it to death. All these things that are grievous to us are only harmful. It's not good for us in any way. And in order to have a good mental, a good physical, a good emotional health, these things have to go, family. I don't know how else to say it. They cannot be here. All right. We are all different. Some of us have thicker skin than others. This has nothing to do with your faith at all. But when you have faith that you love Yahuwah, then you need to be able to love your brethren also. Right. And you need to be able to confide in people when you are dealing with something that is bothering you. You need to be able to reach out to people that can give you like really truthful advice on how to just stay vigilant and strong so that you can fight back spiritually and so that you can also forgive and repent from feeling anything that you shouldn't feel. Because sometimes we want to retaliate. Sometimes we want to, get back at, but it's not worth it, because when you love, you cover the sin for everything. So if one person can love, that's amazing. But if we can all do this, man, we're going to be stronger than we ever know. This is what pleases Yahuwah, love. He wants to see that. He wants to see unity, and he wants to see, he just wants to see us be delivered from all the things that our ancestors messed up in. I mean, there's not really other way to put it. They often fought with people, fought with each other. There was always like brother against brother and all these things. And this is not what Yahuwah likes. He showed us that he didn't like it. He allows some things to happen, and other things really hurt him, So we have to just really, as cliche and repetitive as it sounds, you got to know them by their fruits to know if this is something that you need to stay away from completely, or if it's something that you need to pray about, intercede about. Because if the person doesn't show that they have been renouncing and doing things that can change what they have been doing, then you do need to be separate. Because we know that when something is not aligned with Yahuwah, it can affect everyone, right? There's always like a rotten fruit that can ruin the whole bunch. So we have to make sure that we don't corrupt ourselves or the body by, being around something that is not good. This is how Hashatan tricks us, man. He'll have the wolves put on the sheep's clothing and, blend in. And, this is why we have to put on that armor and stay strong and use our discernment, family. So we do have another verse that we're going to finish up with. This is going to be John 15:12. John 15:12, yes. 1 John 15:12. All right, family? And that is the last verse. It says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you." So that's the word spoke for itself, family. This is a commandment. This is not Sister Akilah-YAH telling you that you have to do this. No, I am bringing this into remembrance. This is a commandment. Many of us, we know we have to keep the commandments, right? He said, keep all my commandments. Nothing was done away with. He fulfilled it when he sacrificed himself. He doesn't call us to sacrifice because he already sacrificed. He was the perfect, lamb of Alua. But what he asks us to do is to keep his commandments. There's not just 10 commandments. There's other things about so many other topics that we are to be keeping. Now, do we have to keep like Levitical laws and stuff? No, we don't have to sacrifice animals and do things like that anymore. But yeah, we should be sacrificing spiritually or denying ourselves of many things. And that's denying yourself of retaliation, denying yourself by fasting, right? Passing plates until you feel like you are being delivered from anything that is oppressing your spirit. We don't need to be quenching our Ruach HaKodesh. Our Ruach HaKodesh is supposed to comfort, teach, and guide us. When we allow the flesh to dominate, we are choosing to be in sin instead of being aligned with the Most High. If we say we love him, then we need to keep his commandments. It's as simple as that. And I know that I'm saying this like it's easy. It's not. It's not easy. It's hard. But we can do all things through Mashiach, and you have to have faith to know you can do this. I know some people have hurt you. I know it's hard to forget certain situations. You know, the way he had created our minds, it's a beautiful thing. But sometimes it can be a little hard to forget all the things that has happened to us. And I understand that, family. A lot of things has happened to me too, even at my childhood. But I don't bring those things to my remembrance no longer, because once you forgive and you let go, it is out of sight and is out of mind. We can't keep reliving and holding wrongdoings against people. We can't do that. We have to let it go. We have to put off the lack of love, and we have to love. And once we can do that, everything else will fall into place. Because if you think about the 10 Commandments specifically, everything about it is love. If you tell someone that they shouldn't kill, that means that then they should love instead, right? Because killing is not love. If you say don't cheat, don't commit idolatry, well, that means you have to love instead, right? And be loyal. If it says don't call on other gods, oh, okay, so he wants me to just love him. If it says to keep the keep the Shabbat holy, oh, that means you have to love the Shabbat to keep it holy. Everything is always about love. If it says don't lie, why would someone that loves lie? These things can't mix. So we have to make sure that we understand that Yahuwah is love. The Torah is light and love. Love is the most important thing that many of us lack because of our history, our bloodlines, the things that has happened to us. But it is time that we put it on. I'm saying put the whole thing on. Love, just put it on like you get dressed every day. So this is why I'm really into this series that we're going to be doing, because, you know, it encourages us to remember what we need to be putting on. So when you getting dressed in the morning, remember these words. Okay, let me put on, you put on your outfit, your head wrap, whatever you do. Make sure you put that love on, that helmet of salvation, that shield of faith. Put these things on each and every day. And when you go to sleep, put them on too, because that's how you guard yourself in the night. There are people that lose sleep over you, monitoring spirits and all types of stuff, family. You put this on and you never take it off. You add to it, okay? We are all growing. We all grow at different stages, different paces, but we're growing. And so to add to your faith, to add to your love, to add to the armor, whatever it is you have to do, you know that it requires you to meditate day and night, right? And to confess sins, especially when it happens. Don't let it sit and so you can feel it. You mess up, you feel conviction, you go and you repent and you confess your sin to Yahuwah, because he looks for people that have humility and that are able to accept correction. That's where the wisdom's at. When you're able to accept discipline and to be taught, to be teachable, right? And we have to practice being a good listener. Me, myself. Sometimes we look to just explain ourselves so much because we're used to not being heard, or maybe being the black sheep and no one listens. So we're so busy trying to explain ourselves and stand up for ourselves that we have to realize Yahuwah is going to stand up for you. Something goes on in your life and he's not happy with, he's going to have witnesses come and speak on your behalf so that his word comes across, because the people are not going to listen to what you have to say sometimes when they have something against you or when they don't want to hear you. But he's going to have these other people speak what he needs to be heard anyway. So that's how Yahuwah works. He will send 2, 3 of them. Because right now in this hour, there is a lack of love. There's a lack of a lot of things right now within Yasharel. As we are spiritually being awakened, but all these new people are coming in, and then some of them, they're like, wow, you know, just because you're in the truth, sometimes it can be a little worse than not being in the truth. The blessing is that we know the truth, about Yahuwah and Yahusha HaMashiach. But sometimes with the fellowship and with dealing with each other, we still have these things that we possessed when we were in the world, and we shouldn't have that. When once you come into truth, you're supposed to be a new person, right? You're supposed to be this transformed individual that is following the way, that this individual that is the light, that can, be a good role model or a good leader, a good sister, a good brother to those around you, even the new people. So we have to just understand that, we have to understand that there are people watching us. It can be new people in the truth, right? It can be someone maybe that's going through something. And then when they see when they see the inconsistency, when they see the flaws and the discord and these issues, family, it can get very confusing, right? And then it's like, how could you guys be in the truth and you say you follow the way and you're holy and all these things, and then you act this way? So we have to just keep in mind some type of way, like, wow, we are supposed to be the light. We are the ones that's supposed to reflect Yahuwah's character. We know that love is an emotion that humans bear, but it's not merely just that. We know that love is also a spiritual rebirth. We know that love is Yahuwah's character. So when we are being this light and showing the love of him, right, as his vessels, and we have these new people coming in, so it makes it easier for us to win souls. It makes it easier for people to know who he is through us. Every single kind gesture you do is a way to show Yahuwah's love, right? When we are able to give, when we're able to provide, when we're not able to give or provide, but we do it in other ways, like through praying, through advice, through just listening, all those things are doing what he called you to do. So we are all just doing some type of assignment, but let it not be without love. Let it always contain the love of Yahuwah, because we can feel that. That is like one of those emotions. It's tangible. When someone truly loves you, you can just feel it. You feel it. Your nervous system is really at peace when you speak to them. When you're speaking to them, you feel at peace. When there is something that is oppressing you, sometimes the genuine love that they have, because there's something oppressing you, it can be distorted, right? And then you can feel off. You can feel grieved because you are allowing these unclean ruachs to distort what the truth is. They do this all the time. You can read the scriptures. Look at what Saul went through. He had these, me and Paul, actually, my husband, we watched some type of, I guess it was like a mini series. And what we liked about it was that they used the true name. And so they never said like LORDJES. No. So I said, yes, finally, there's a show that I can watch, right? It's not a show though. I forget what it is. And I will share it when I remember. But Saul, he had unclean ruachs, right? And it was his unclean ruachs that had him seeing and feeling all these things, but it wasn't true. He wasn't hearing from Yahuwah. He was hearing from familiar spirits. So when we are listening to spirits that are not Yahuwah, they can have us hurt your own brethren. They can have you go against the grain. So we have to be careful that when we are listening or viewing someone, that it is in the true, authentic way that Yahuwah sees them. Because the most simplest parable or message he gives us is that you know them by their fruits. There's really no other way to put it. Family, a tree bears fruit. Okay, all trees bear fruits, even the maple trees that you don't actually see, like edible fruits, they have seeds, everything. Maple, all that is edible, by the way. And I'm going to be sharing information about that as I'm led to. So much on my plate right now. But I have a strong desire to start sharing that, especially after Sister Erica If those of you that know her, she encouraged us to start sharing these things. And so it's important because a lot of that stuff you can eat. So anyways, back to the topic. We have to make sure that we are, when we are viewing people, that in that moment, our heart is pure and positioned right. Because you can make mistakes. We're human. We can make mistakes and we can be wrong. Look what they did to Yahushua HaMashiach. He healed people. He was always kind. He ain't never did nothing to nobody. And then there was time he did have to rebuke people. He rebuked them in a justifiable way because these people were not acting right. They were being too prideful. They had a clean outer cup, but inside was filthy. You know, all these things he showed us. Yeah, he rebuked them. If someone wasn't coming right, he rebuked them. Absolutely. But why was he hated? Why did they hurt him when he didn't do anything? He was just speaking. He was the mouthpiece of the Most High Yahuwah. He said, I don't do nothing but through Yahuwah who sends me. So why is it that they didn't believe him? Why did they do this to him? Why was he attacked? So make sure that we're not repeating the same mistakes when we have these people in our midst, even strangers that will say things and, you know, share information, share scripture. Pay attention. If you see something a few times in a day, that could be Yahuwah giving you a confirmation, showing you his heart, giving you a guidance, answering a prayer. He works like that, family. And you guys know that he works that way. So instead of feeling conviction, just listen and just say, you know what? Yes, let me meditate on this word. Thank you, Yahuwah. Thank Yahuwah always for any faithful servant that you were blessed to be in the path of. These people that have fruits, these people that are good people, they never did nothing to you or to anyone else. People that, you know, are supportive and have good intentions. You support them, family. You know, this is not easy for anyone. Most of us are out of our comfort zone. Most of us are doing things that requires a lot of work. All of us, we are all working hard to grow and get to that point that Yahuwah wants us to get to. We are all in different areas. Some of yous might be purging and fasting right now. Some of yous might be, you know, getting ready to do something else spiritually. Whatever it is, endure and stay encouraged. Love, love, love. Put off the lack of love. So this was day one, family. I pray this was a blessing for you to hear. This actually gave me so much fire inside in a good way. I feel so on fire right now for Yahuwah, because this was something I needed to hear. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking more about putting off and putting on. Okay, family. So this is going to have to be a playlist because I told you it's going to probably take a few days, but it is all worth it. Okay. I pray you all have a beautiful night. Stay safe wherever you are and forgive and love always. Remember to keep the commandments and to endure. The best is yet to come for us. Shalom.